Hey there, athletes. Coach John Ferry here from Team Wilpers. Excited as always to welcome you to our athlete briefing number 2, both for our winter run and half marathon run challenge 2024 edition. A huge congratulations to everyone who completed their 20-minute distance test this week and set the stage for their either 8 to 10 weeks to follow. Always a tough workout, so congratulations for getting that knocked out. Hopefully you popped in, got your pace ranges here already for week 1. Quick review, if you didn't do the distance test and you did that progression run to start of the week, great way just to kickstart any training block, get to touch on a lot of your paces right off the start, hopefully get those back into your body after maybe a couple weeks of taking it easy. Key run number 2, half marathoners. Jump straight into half marathon pace intervals. Why not? That's the race pace ultimately we're working towards. Certainly throughout the week, I've noticed a little bit of conversation about half marathon pace, whether you could actually run a half marathon at that pace. So just a quick reminder that all of our paces are not necessarily, I would say, aspirational, but they are training paces that we're going to use based on a percentage of threshold. So there's a lot of things that go into actually dictating and predicting race time. These paces are training paces, so certainly don't get frustrated or intimidated if that half marathon pace feels kind of out of touch, but should be great for 5-minute intervals, hopefully. Winter run challenge. We jump straight into anaerobic capacity intervals, heart racing zone 6 intervals. So what we're really working on is raising that top end. Hopefully we got a great kickstart here in week 1. Key run number 3 for everybody. We always finish together on our easy endurance long run to finish the week. To make this nice, easy, enjoyable, hopefully the best run of the week each week. Tiny bit of housekeeping here. The website, we're coming to the end of week 1. Make sure to get into that portal, check the boxes saying that you've completed the workouts for this week. We're just chasing that 100% completion percentage. Want to make that trend box kick in at the end of the week, saying that we've maintained 100% week after week after week. So get in there, check those boxes saying that you have done those workouts. Just a little FYI, people participating in the All Access on the strength plan, at least in the half marathon program. I know there's a little bit of a glitch at the moment. I'm not sure yet on the winter run challenge. So we're aware of it, we're working on it, and we'll hopefully have that updated very soon. That being said, a little cheat to it is in both challenges this week. Actually, week 2 is the same as week 1. Week 3 starts to get some things. So if for some reason you were hoping to get a kickstart on any of those workouts, it's okay just to repeat the week 1 workout, which showed up perfectly. Going into week 2, it's going to be exactly the same. Also on that strength training perspective, I mentioned this last week, but had to get pushed back just a little bit. But Coach Ava Fagan is going to join me this Monday the 15th at 10:30 a.m. Ava is the genius designer of those strength programs. So we're going to be talking about winter strength. We're going to be talking about half marathon strength program. And we're going to be talking about strength training in general for the endurance athlete. So we'll certainly post here in the Facebook group, as well as send out an email to All Access members to gather questions for that Monday morning All Access presentation. So now to our week 2 workouts. Run number run. We'll start with the half marathon challenge. Endurance run with strides. Endurance run, the race is run almost entirely in an endurance state. So many people have participated in our challenge infrastructures. We do a lot of times what's referred to as, or I'll refer to as a 3Q workout or a 3 quality, kind of 2 speed workouts and a long run. So we're pivoting a little bit. We're going to a longer form race here in the half marathon. So we're going to put a heavy priority on that endurance run part, but we'll include the strides here. So we have this 10-minute warm up. This is a reminder for all groups that warm-up, really think of it as a mini progression run, ranging your easy pace. Maybe start at the slow end, finish at the top end. It takes a while to get into it. Don't always feel like you have to jump in at the top end of that easy pace. Coming in, we're doing 2 segments of 15-second striders. Just want to bring a reminder here, these are not sprints, these are not intervals. We're hoping for accelerations where we just kind of peak for a couple seconds at a hard pace before we dial it back down. So overall, the goal is not to have an interval workout. The goal is to have an endurance running workout where we're just opening up your stride, we're pushing cadence a little bit, trying to kind of break the rhythm of that steady state, easy running here. Those are the things we're trying to do with those strides. Ton of benefit that come out of those strides. It's a great way to not only change up the workout a little bit, but really prepare your body and prep your body for other harder workouts that are soon to come. Run number 1 for winter run. We're jumping right back into this anaerobic capacity intervals. So you have a little bit of a practice with this now. So we started with those 30-second intervals. This in particular is a pace and a pace range that's really kind of novel to a lot, especially of adult athletes. Once you leave that kind of track and field system of high school and college, not a lot of people are touching on this all that often. Maybe they should, conversation for a different day. But for a lot of people, we're introducing a new pace here. So coming into the second round of it, you should be even a little bit more prepared, a little bit more ready to tackle those intervals. And really all we're doing with the structure is just extending the top end of that range from 30 seconds to 45 seconds. And kind of a funny little twist to these, sometimes those 45-second intervals actually feel a little bit easier than the 30-second intervals. And the reason is we're keeping that 1-to-1 recovery, work to recovery ratio. So you have that little bit longer work period, but the 45-second recovery is also a little bit more substantial. Those 30-second ones, I warned you last week, the intervals are short, but the recoveries are short too, and they whiz by. So no big deal here, just bumping up to a little bit longer on the work period, a little bit longer on the recovery period. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be great. Did see a lot of comments going through the week that this workout was easier than people expected. And this one is going to be the same. High levels of intensity, but a lot of recovery, ton of benefit into the workout. Hope you love it. Run number 2, we're doing hills 2 ways. So 2 different programs, totally different goals, both using hills, both in totally different ways. So let's start. And one more thing, new warm-up. So the lunge matrix we use a lot, great warm-up, use it before almost every run. Adding in for this workout in particular, and we're going to follow this through both programs, adding in that calf matrix. This is a very similar ideology to the lunge matrix where we're moving that muscle in 3 planes of motion. We're trying to get a lot of mobility. Hill workouts, incredibly beneficial for a lot of reasons, but absolutely put a lot of strain on the calf. So we're going to do as best as possible here with that calf matrix to prepare your body to handle the intensity on incline. So check that out, do a little homework, a little practice on how to do that calf matrix. We all have tight calves. Everybody here has tight calves. I don't even know, but I do know we have tight calves. This will be something that's beneficial for us all. Feel free to still combine this with the lunge matrix, as the hips and that mobility of the hip is still crucial for your run. One of the best ways to get started. So just because you're adding doesn't mean you have to subtract, but I want you to focus in particular on your calves in advance of this workout. Once again, both programs. Coming into the warm-up, we're including strides here. 15-minute main set, this is for half marathoners. Doing uphill intervals at half marathon pace, long sustained sets, half marathon pace. We're starting to work on leg power. We're starting to cover the distance on hills, etc. And the reason we work on hills is most courses have hills. Unless you're running in the very particular topographies, most courses have hills somewhere on there. Race directors love to put them, especially on the second half of the course when you're starting to get tired. I'm not a race director, so it's not my fault. You can talk to them, but that's just how it works out. Great posterior chain activation. Great way to generate better knee drive. An incredible way to work running economy without really having to think about it is to get out there and work these hills. So we're doing half marathon pace, kind of longer sustained efforts on hills. Great way to segue into this. Get ready for, it's another race prep workout. Even here in week 1, we started with a half marathon pace workout, very obvious race pace workout, the exact pace we're hoping to translate to over time. Same thing here on the hills. We're trying to take that pace, move it onto incline, start to see what that feels like. So knocking that out here in week 2. Said hills 2 ways. So hills also for our winter run challenge participants. Same name, but absolutely totally different workout. These are shorter duration, higher intensity intervals. So we still get that posterior chain activation. We still are working on running economy, but what we're really using these intervals for is to push power, build explosive leg strength. That's what we're doing here by using that threshold pace instead of half marathon. So it's not so much faster, but just a little bit really tweaks the difference of this workout here. So these workouts are actually going to be really similar to the anaerobic capacity style workouts in terms of what we're trying to do, but we're reducing the pace a little bit and adding the incline as a bit of resistance. So ultimately the training stress is very similar to that anaerobic capacity style workout, but the muscular use is different, and actually running fast repeats on hills is a little bit easier on your body. Less distance between the front foot and the ground when you're running uphill. So you can get some of that intensity without taking some of the pounding that you do running on flat ground. So little fun fact. And then as always, we're finishing again all in the same spot, back with easy endurance running. So our half marathoners are 5 to 7 miles, 45 to 60 minutes basically for our winter run challenge participants here. Easy pace start to finish. Not an opportunity to start to include tempo miles yet. Not an opportunity to put intervals into the workout. Easy, breezy, beautiful. That's how we want this workout to be here, okay? So let's jump straight into some questions that came up from the week. So question one was, when we're doing our long runs for the half challenge, should we try to stay in the prescribed range for easy pace, or should we truly just run what feels easy and keep our heart rate down? My easy pace often feels really fast for long runs, so just wanted to ensure I understand the intent of those long runs. Normally when marathon training, I think of long runs as being much slower, like 90 plus seconds slower than marathon pace. So marathon pace kind of thrown aside for right now, because that's totally dependent upon your pace range. But especially in this building phase of our half marathon cycle here, it doesn't matter one bit if your pace falls into that very specific pace range of easy pace. You absolutely can reduce the pace, make the effort, be easy, feel easy, etc. Just because we have titled it easy pace, if it's not feeling easy, reduce the pace. You want to stay aerobic, you want to be in control of your breath. Doing so ensures that you get all the benefits we're going for of that workout, and maybe most importantly, not carrying fatigue even further. You can certainly kind of bury yourself in a hole a little bit by going a little bit too hard, a little bit too hard, a little bit too hard, time after time again. So absolutely, especially in those long runs, and especially as you're trying to get used to and more comfortable with longer distances, reduce the pace. I meant to add on to that one. For so many runners, the distance itself, especially in the half marathon, where you're getting up to a run of that duration, the distance itself is a major challenge. That's a very legitimate way to feel. Your best way to combat that and to make it a more enjoyable process and really move you towards the distance that we're going to want to go to over the next 9 weeks is pace, is to reduce it to a point that genuinely not only feels easy at the beginning of the run, but the middle of the run, the end of the run, etc. Because more than anything, one of the best tactics at running these races is just to slow down the least. So find that pace that you can sustain and feel comfortable in early, middle, and end, because we're going to add on a lot of volume on top of that. Our next question here was, I've signed up for some 10Ks during the challenge, one of them being this weekend, and as a trail run. Is it a bad idea to run longer than this prescribed amount on the long runs? Should you then incorporate more rest? Also, any tips on trail running? So in terms of longer than prescribed, no problem there at surface level. It has much more to do with the distance that you are really trained for. So if you're a runner that's been running 10 miles every weekend, week after week after week, then there's no reason for you to come down to our mileage here, I think this 5 to 7 mile range. Keep staying at 10 miles and we'll pick you up along the way. However, if you're a runner that runs 5 miles every weekend, which is a great thing to do, but then sign up for a 10 mile race, that's a big stretch. You're all of a sudden doubling your long run in a single, kind of a single pop. So not a bad thing to do per se, but you should certainly expect to be carrying some fatigue. You probably have some soreness, definitely have some fatigue, and it's 100% going to affect the weeks ahead. So that is how I would think about it a little bit. So once again, if you always run 10 miles and then you're going to run 10 miles in a race, great, go have fun. If it's going to be a big stretch for you, you're really pushing your miles, then yeah, you might have to, especially in the top of next week, back off the miles a little bit, maybe shorten the run. If you have the kind of the toggle of easy, moderate, difficult, move it a little bit to the easier workouts until you feel like you've kind of bounced back from that weekend effort there. For tips on trails, we're going to have to schedule a little bit of a longer format chat there, because it's kind of funny, and it would be a great topic for an all access briefing. We have a great coach, Coach Blair out on the West Coast, huge trail runner. And the reason I say it's a longer conversation is, road, pretty standardized. You have hilly, you have not so hilly. So like New York City Marathon, they were like crazy hills, has a few hundred feet of gain. As opposed to Chicago Marathon, pancake flat, we're talking a little bit of difference in comparison to trail. Trail covers everything from soft dirt path all the way to 100 miles going up and over the top of big mountains, 30,000 feet of gain, etc. So very big genre, probably could use some subgenres along the way there. So depending upon what thing you're looking to do, very different conversations. I will say maybe just the teeny little thing, maybe two things that are pretty similar on trail moving from road is that you're most likely going to run slower. Even if it's soft dirt pack, you don't have the same energy return as concrete or asphalt, and that you have to be more careful with footing. It's, once again, even on soft dirt path, you can get, roots, rocks, etc. So in that slowing down process, you have to be much more thoughtful. The last thing you want to do is create any sort of trip and fall injury that's going to derail your road thing. So trail running is great, road running is great, a little bit different. And like I said, an excellent topic for a long form all access briefing. Next question here. Nashville's first 13.1 miles is a bit hilly. Is it reasonable for us to expect to hit our paces? And what is your advice to those of us running the half or full, taking into consideration? It's a great question. And the quick answer to that is actually no. Is that in the running of the race itself, you really wouldn't expect to hold that pace on the uphill segments in the same way that you would, let's say, on the flats of the decline. So in general, I would say it is a better strategy on those uphills to decrease pace and try to match effort, and then actually use the downhill not to surge, but actually to recover from the uphill. A lot of people have that tendency to back off appropriately on the uphill and then try to surge on the downhill. You don't quite get that recovery, heart rate stays high. You also put a lot of wear and tear on the quads, which in the marathon in particular is brutal. Anyone who's run Boston in the past knows that kind of downhill start, overdoing it early can really tear your legs up. So when it goes uphill late, you don't have that ability to generate power anymore from those muscles because they got too beat up. But that can translate to any hilly course you're racing on, that you want to reduce pace on the uphill. You want to settle as best as possible on the downhill, and then use those flats to maybe make some surges, especially if you have particular race goals. That being said, there are some tools out there to help you. I thought I'd mention, I'm most familiar with the Garmin infrastructure because that's what I use and have always used for my watches, but they've got a pretty cool tool out there. I think they call it like their Race Pace or Race Strategy Pro, something along those lines. But you can upload the GPX file, which is the kind of map file of the race that you're doing. These are pretty easy to find these days with a quick Google search because of Strava and other popular tracking apps. And when you upload that, you can put your goal race time, and they give you a few options if you plan on kind of a neutral split, a negative split, positive split, etc. And it will kind of give you a mile by mile suggestion of what those split times might need to be over the course of the whole race in order to best tackle that time goal that you have. And whether or not that you use that exactly it is at least a really interesting way to kind of look at the race and kind of realize that, like, you know, for argument's sake, let's say an 8-minute mile pace doesn't mean that you run 13 and a 10th mile, you know, all at 8 minutes. It means that some might be 7:30 and some might be 8:20 and so back and forth. And depending upon that topography, you're gonna have to adjust that and be a little bit thoughtful about the overall race goal that you have on that course. It's also why course records, you know, there's not a record for the marathon per se. I mean, they're kind of, the sub 2 is sort of the record for the marathon, but it is course by course because every course is a little bit different. So they don't really compare their times in New York to the times in Chicago, to the times in Berlin. They're all different based upon those race courses because you're not going to have the exact same conditions when you shift courses time to time. So something to look into, that Garmin Race Pace tool, kind of a cool thing to check out, and hopefully it helps. Well, otherwise, that will be all here for our Week 2 athlete briefing. I appreciate all of you, as always, for tuning in here on a Friday night. Can't wait to see you back here for Week 3. So have an amazing Week 2. Talk to you soon.